Knowing the scriptures is not enough. There's a reason that I ask you to choose the scriptures that speak to you personally. It's easier to live in your own revelation as opposed to someone else's. The Bible says that even the demons believe and tremble. It's not enough to know, and it's not enough to believe. Everything must become a reality in your life. Your reality. When Yahuwah's reality begins to manifest in and around your life, it doesn't matter what anyone else says or believes about it, it will be reality. I have many people around my life that don't really believe in Malachim and the manifest presence of Yahuwah today. But when they are in our home, they have seen them or felt Yahuwah's presence. That is the manifest reality in our lives. And if an unbeliever comes into our environment, it doesn't negate that reality. People have told us they have seen ghosts or beings walking around in our home. Because they don't accept the reality of Malachim, they still have to call them something, so they choose the explanation and terminology the world uses. How do the promises of Yahuwah begin to become manifest in your life? Is there something we can do other than pray and read the Bible? Putting it all together, decree. Having an understanding of who you are and what your authority is gives you the basis for putting together a great decree to speak over your own life. I like to decree or declare who I am in Yahushua HaMashiach every day, to put the spirit realm on notice that I know who I am and I know that what belongs to me. I also like to do this to remind myself of who I am. I know that may sound strange, but sometimes the enemy will try to get our minds thinking about solving problems with our natural understanding, so that we don't move in the supernatural power of Yahuwah as children of Yahuwah. Supernatural should be our first option. Go through your list and possibly even get some more verses and choose the verses that mean the most to you. Then put them together in a declaration you can speak over yourself every day. As a warrior of the kingdom, you will find this to be important and significant for you. This position that you are claiming is the basis for your legal right to destroy the works of the enemy. My personal decree. In Yahushua's name, I am a daughter of Yahuwah. I am seated at Yahuwah's own right hand in Yahushua HaMashiach. I am loved of my Father in Shamayim. He loves me with an eternal love, and I am a member of Yahuwah's own household. I am an heir of Yahuwah and a joint heir with Yahushua HaMashiach. I am a legal heir of my Father's kingdom. I am seated in authority in heavenly places in HaMashiach, far above principalities and powers. He has given me his Malachim charge over me. I am clean and Kudash and clothed in his righteousness. Hasatan has no place in me and no power over me. I'm still a daughter of Yahuwah, and my feelings have nothing to do with that. I normally make this declaration or decree as I get ready for work. Sometimes I add in another verse or statements concerning who I am in Yahushua, depending on what I'm dealing with. Sometimes I will repeat it several times because although my emotions don't have to be on board for it to be true, I like to be in agreement in spirit, soul, and body. The last statement in my decree I added because of a teaching I heard from Neville Johnson. Brother Neville gave an analogy when teaching about spiritual authority, comparing believers to police officers. He said that when an officer has a bad day or doesn't feel good or gets in an argument with their spouse, they don't stop being a police officer. They still have the authority or their position whether they feel like it or not. He says it's the same with us. Our feelings have nothing to do with the fact that we as believers are seated in authority in HaMashiach. We still have the authority of HaMashiach even in our worst days. That's a very good thing to know. This segment about our identity and authority is meant to lay out a plan or foundation from which you can do warfare. That's why I'm asking you to do this. I have found this to be effective for many reasons, and I know it will be for you also. Your decree. As you put together your own decree of who you are in HaMashiach, choose the scriptures that the Ruach HaKodesh leads you to. Write out all the scriptures in a way so that it flows naturally off your tongue or have a real good feeling about. This decree should be just as natural and as easy to speak as if you were telling someone your name, address, and phone number. Know it that well and better. Something very important to remember about this decree is that it is not you trying to encourage yourself or psych yourself up because of who you are. The words you speak have incredible power. When you decree things, things happen in the spiritual realm, which is the entire point of doing this. Think Mark 11:23. As you make decrees, the things afflicting you or preventing you are either destroyed or moved off of you. Doubt and unbelief become displaced. Fear is driven out. As you first begin to speak your decree over yourself and your own life, do it until you notice a shift take place. At first, it may feel like you are just giving yourself a pep talk, but do it until your Ruach manifests the reality of it. Like anything worthwhile in the kingdom, you may have to lay hold of it by force, especially on this topic. I have been doing this for quite a while, and I still have to break through barriers sometimes when I do this. You can experience this also with prayer or praise. I've spoken to many people who tell me that their first 20 minutes they pray out or worship, it feels like they are faking it. That is just the process of breaking through. The soulish things that try to stifle your Ruach, man, as you contend for the promises and provision of Yahuwah. I know that to people who question the whole idea that Yahuwah is still very present in our lives, this will indeed seem like some kind of exercise in talking yourself into something. Like maybe if I say it enough times, I will begin to believe it. But the reality of the decree, I based on Job 22:28. You will also decree a thing, and it will be established for you, and light will shine on your ways. Also Proverbs 23:7. For as he thinks in his heart, so is he. One very important thing that I learned as I began to try to lay hold of manifest spiritual realities is this. What you focus on, you connect with, and when you connect, activation takes place. In the anointed and groundbreaking book, Gazing into Glory by Dr. Bruce Allen, you can learn about this reality and how to access it for your own life in much more detail, and I would encourage you to do that. Just this one key alone can take you to places in Yahuwah that can change everything for you. For now, however, I want to show you the reality of what I'm talking about. Taking the decree you have created with you and situate yourself quietly to spend a few minutes focusing on Yahuwah. Like in prayer or on waiting on Yahuwah, sitting very still, not moving about, begin to state your decree. If you have to open your eyes to look at what you have written, that's okay. Look at your decree and then close your eyes and begin to speak this truth over yourself. Say it quietly but aloud a few times and then say it in your mind. Imagination, if you quiet yourself and do this, because you are yielding to the Ruach man, sitting still and not moving about, you will feel your spirit stir. When the spiritual begins to manifest and you can feel it, it begins a greater understanding that this is a reality. Although I state my decree when I am up and moving around in the mornings, I also do this at night when no one is up and around to distract me. Between the quiet and the dark and the absence of movement, there is nothing for my natural man, my physical being, to get distracted by. When I state my decree in the situation, the presence of Yah and the obvious feeling of your Ruach is exponentially multiplied. You lay hold of this experience and try to take it with you into your everyday life. During my own times of waiting on Yahuwah in the night, watch as they call it, I have had everything from electricity coursing through me to fire falling on me, to Malachim visiting me, and much more. This awareness of who you really are is what launches you to be able to walk in both realms at the same time. And when this happens, warfare takes on a whole new dimension. We will discuss that more in an upcoming chapter. For now, learn the verses that you have chosen. Wear them as a garment and learn to wield them like a sword. Have them every day and on the tip of your tongue. Pray and ask Yahuwah for the Ruach of wisdom and revelation to come upon you, that you might have a greater knowledge and understanding of who you are in Yahushua HaMashiach and what authority you have been given.